Our first item are the hearing minutes. Upon request by the Public Improvement Commission staff, the acceptance of the minutes of the PIC hearing held on December 6, 2018. Any comments or edits or questions about the minutes? Nope. All right. I'll entertain a motion on the hearing minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Moving on to the public hearing continued. Our first item is on a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC, the Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Roxbury, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps and specialty pavers, street trees, street furniture, bike racks, bollards, planters, landscaping, and driveway curb cuts. Locations are Boylston Street on its southeasterly side at address number 1000 between Dalton Street and St. Cecilia Street, Cambria Street on both sides between St. Cecilia Street and Dalton Street at its southerly corner at the intersection with Boylston Street, Scotia Street on its northeasterly side southeast of St. Cecilia Street, and St. Cecilia Street on both sides between Boylston Street and Scotia Street. This was new business on November 15, 2018 and had its first public hearing on December 6, 2018. And this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Boylston Street, Cambria Street, St. Cecilia Street, Scotia Street, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 6 sheets dated September 28, 2018. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Michael Flannery from Goulston & Stores, 400 Atlantic Avenue. I'm here on behalf of Weiner Ventures, LLC, the developer of the 1000 Boylston Street project. We're very happy to be back before you again this morning for our specific repair petitions. After being continued from the last session, we were able to have a very productive meeting with BPDA where we were able to review questions and comments that they had. I'm here today with Mark Youngins from VHB, our project engineer. I'm going to hand it over to Mark to take you through the specific repair plans, and we can both answer questions that you may have.
Good morning. I want to start off with an overview of what's changed in the last week or so, because at the last hearing, the BPDA expressed a willingness to sit down and go through some additional design comments. And also there was a comment brought up by Mr. Hesford at the last hearing about the offset, the location of the planters as it relates to parking. I'll start with the parking. The Boylston Street corridor is something that's currently being planned as far as how it wants to be laid out as far as bike lanes and curb use, something that's still evolving. And one of the uses that could be along our frontage is parking. And so there was a concern about the location of the planters to parking, because sort of the tension here is the tension between providing as wide a accessible pedestrian route as possible with also balancing the curb uses. The size of our planters is really determined by, it's a minimum size for the trees to actually thrive. And what we were asked to do is look at a parking layout that would not have cars opening their doors into the planters, because the planters are a little over a foot from the curb. And we came up with a layout that, aside from the difference between this and a full line of parking is 2 cars. And it still provides 9 spaces where you might have 11 if you didn't have the planter. And it provides the 11.5-foot concrete zone of accessible paving. So it maximizes the pedestrian zone and still get a decent amount of parking along the frontage. A couple of the other questions that had come up were the location of this crosswalk here. We did some research into this when the Hines was, this end of it was reconstructed in 2009, 2010. This crosswalk used to be over here actually, which is one of the questions, why didn't you put the crosswalk over here? But when we looked at it, when you come around this curve, you've got about a 5% cross slope. So trying to get an accessible condition crosswalk down here, it just didn't work well with the street grades. You got a condition that you couldn't get the appropriate cross slope without a significant regrading of the street through the intersection. And the design that we proposed essentially took what was an apex crosswalk, pushed this crosswalk back about 8 feet, which was a comment we got from BTD early on, and then created separate crosswalks at that location. So we looked at the pluses and minuses. The other thing is that this is a strong pedestrian desire line between here and the Back Bay, so this really sort of addresses that as well. So at this point in time, I know Jill's still looking at it. We're keeping that current proposal for this crosswalk at this location. The ramp more likely, because that's what specific repair is containing. There was a question here about this crosswalk.
So are you you're saying that you're eliminating that crosswalk, or that crosswalk remains?
As it's shown, it remains. Yeah, it is a little.
Without an entrance ramp, with sort of two separate pedestrian ramps, right?
Two ramps, and the crosswalk remains, correct. This crosswalk was adjusted slightly to make them line up a little better. The parking layout we talked about the accommodation of future bike lanes. I just wanted to.
So that I gotta interject right here. That's a conversation you have with the Transportation Department, not the BRA.
We did,
Okay.
we did.
I wasn't there.
Actually, the BPDA reached out to Stephanie Suskin. We've actually, it's also something that has to be memorialized in the tablet. That's the final word on it.
It's not the final word.
Okay,
Okay, final word's right here.
all right. Well,
Okay? So let's not even entertain that. You can have your little meeting with the BRA. We'll discuss this final process.
okay.
Okay?
We know that there could be different uses here. We modeled this one because of a bike lane, a pickup drop-off zone, parking. Parking is the most restrictive of the possible curb uses there. It could end up being a bike lane.
Correct.
It services a bike lane just fine. But
The
more-
question was about the planners.
Yes,
That's what you needed to address.
right, correct. And what we looked at is, for the planners, the most restrictive condition is having parking there. So we looked at what it might look like. We're not proposing parking. We know that that's up to BTD, but that's the
Well,
worst
thank you for
possible
that.
condition. Yeah. There was a question about the kind of bike racks we used. We used the Boston Standard bike rack, but the BPDA's had issues with, they don't really hold the bikes up, so we changed the design. So that's reflected on the plans currently. And the last piece, just to clarify from the last hearing, is that we had at one time proposed Scotia to be two-way in this section. We are not changing the circulation of Scotia. It is a one-way, all the way, and I just wanted to state it again at the hearing so there's no gray area there. So those are the changes since the last time we came. So starting with Boylston Street. The Boylston Street specific repairs are slightly updated from what we talked about before. We talked about this ramp that was changed. One other change that was made in the interim is we eliminated the ramp that was at the entry because that was related to a valet, a managed valet use. And if we do establish that use, it will get permitted through the Dan Nuzzo and the Parking Commission or the Valet Commission. So that's a separate process, so it's not shown in this part. So we took that off. So that's for Boylston Street.
Mark,
Yes,
the planters,
yes.
are they movable or are they concrete embedded into the sidewalk?
Actually, Mass DOT asked us to design them to be removable, so you can unbolt them and take them apart.
In addition to Mass DOT, if the Transportation Department requires those planters to be readjusted, keep that flexibility.
Well, you still need to pave around them, but they can be moved. Yes,
If they need to be adjusted,
yes. Because they sit on top of the deck instead of in it. Yes, they can be adjusted.
just keep the, so your client recognizes the fact that if the planters need to move for whatever the purposes which the Transportation Department requires, that flexibility is there so that it is not bolted, shrouded into the concrete.
Understood.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so moving on to Cambridge Street, and Cambridge Street, I'll let the overall board off, is the street that runs from St. Cecilia Street down to the entry of the Convention Center loading area. No changes on this since we talked about last time. We have a combination of permeable pavers at this edge, the new service entries here, and a improvement on the existing sidewalk from 3 feet to 4.5 feet to support the edge of the building there. Any questions on Cambridge? St. Cecilia Street, which is the street that connects through from Boylston Street, intersecting Cambridge Street and Scotia Street. Once again, No changes since the last time we met, proposing ramps across the street where we're proposing new ramps on our side of the street, combination of new concrete paving, permeable paving, improved pedestrian crossings and bike accommodations. On Scotia Street, this only extends as far as our site. This is, on Scotia Street is where our entry to our garages. This is actually a garage portal. We have elevators that access the parking above. Once again, maintaining the existing curb line, improving the sidewalk, providing new streetscape where we can. We actually have a lot of vaults on this side because we have NSTAR's distribution plant here, which results in a lot of infrastructure on the corner. Verizon's switch up the street.
Mark,
Yes.
during construction
Yes.
of this very amazing facility, access for the construction vehicles, whether it is the concrete trucks or your heavy vehicles, have you given some thought as to how they will be approaching this zone? Keeping in mind that Boylston Street beyond Dalton is a one-way street heading northbound or whichever the
We actually have a construction management plan that's been approved for this site.
and it is relying on coming through the intersection of Mass Ave and Boylston, I'm going to assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of
Dalton
some
may-
of it's on Scotia Street also.
Okay,
They split the difference.
let's split the difference, okay, because Dalton may be out of circulation.
Yeah.
Right.
It's from this end.
Okay.
I see your point,
And
absolutely.
Scotia, you've got the church, and I mean, it's highly residential and a very tight turning radiuses. Okay, trying to take a dump truck through there, let alone a concrete.
Oh, I know, it's,
You know it, the
It's
type
not
is,
roomy.
okay. So that brings all the charm to the Mass Ave Boylston intersection, and it is one pedestrian dominated, so it will be on the corner.
okay, that's it for the proposed specific repair around the site. We approved the pedestrian easement last time, which supports a wider sidewalk on Boylston Street, so I wasn't gonna put into that.
Pair of questions just about the details. The litter and recycling bins that you guys selected, are you, like, in the LMI, are you also ones that are servicing them? Or is that the city to service the litter and recycling bins?
Where are those, Mark?
They're not the big buildings, they're more traditional cans. I really don't know the answer to that.
So when it is in confusion, assume that it is you until we volunteer.
To that point, if it does revert to us, we may just want to adjust the design so it's standard with other things which we have, just to be clear. It
Okay.
would not be a significant difference, but and then the same thing, I appreciate the concerns that were raised around the bike racks, but we may just have one final edit on those rather than the Lombardi design that you're showing here.
Okay. Fair enough.
The maintenance agreement, Tom, has it been executed or are we still
It
partnering
was,
along with it?
it was still in the process of, we're working on that.
So
we have
again,
some-
Michael, sorry.
Yeah, Michael.
Sorry, Michael, expedite the execution of it because it'll be difficult for us to record this stuff.
Absolutely. I've been in touch with Chong already about us working together on that.
Confident that we will do what needs to be done so that PSC staff can do the recording.
We'll need a priority permitting.
Other questions or comments? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion to approve a set of joint petitions by 1000 Boylston Street Owner LLC, Prudential Insurance Company of America, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation. The making of specific repairs is read into the record by the chair and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Boylston Street, Cambria Street, St. Cecilia Street, Scotia Street, 1000 Boylston Street, Boston, 6 sheets dated September 28th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our next item, our public hearing item continued, on a petition by TA Realty LLC for the making of specific repairs within Boylston Street in Boston proper, located on its northwesterly side at address number 855, generally between Fairfield Street and Gloucester Street, consisting of curb, sidewalk, and tree pit reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement and bike racks. This was new business on October 4th, 2018. Had a public hearing on November 1st, 2018, and its first public hearing continued on December 6th, 2018. This is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, 855 Boylston Street, Public Way, Back Bay, 3 sheets dated December 2018.
Good morning, Chelsea Christensen from Niche Engineering. With me is Aaron Worth from Dyer Brown and Jason Willega on behalf of TA Realty. We have continued this a couple times in the past month or so. We've done some coordination between Zach Mossman and the MAAB and the Commission for Persons with Disabilities. And the consensus has been to have the sidewalk designed to be less than 2% from the building to the porous paver strip and then sloped down to the road from there. We have received a variance for that, for the slope in the paver strip is up to 15%, but that was the agreed plan to make sure that the sidewalk itself is accessible. So the improvements that we have now are pavers along the building to the property line, an 8-foot concrete sidewalk, and then a 7-foot porous brick strip that slopes down to the roadway. We have 2 bike racks that were added. The CMP has been submitted. It has not been fully approved, but it is in the works. And then we have not finalized with the Parks Department yet. We have received comments on the current details of tree protection. We've added in some, it's called the Silva-Cell system that is used to protect the roots of the trees from compaction as we are raising the grade above the tree roots. So we have, Liza has asked for a couple more details on that, but I think she's in support of the system so far. So we're, yep.
Sorry, are these existing trees or new trees?
Existing trees to remain, yes.
So take that extra care to look after the trees during construction?
Mm-hmm.
And the Silva Cell is actually beneath the sidewalk and not, is that right?
It is currently proposed beneath the sidewalk, yeah.
I think after Parks approves it, we have some questions about the depth of what we could put on top of that potentially in the future, whether or not this is going to kill this corridor for us for future fiber optic
Okay.
reasons.
Right. Maybe that's still in the road?
So it's in the sidewalk, but behind the tree pit, between the, so it's what you walk on.
Yeah, I've asked them to look at if we can put it on the sides to keep it under the porous strip, because there was already a concern about having different materials under the public sidewalk. So
Who asked for it, Chelsea? Again, I apologize for asking this at a public hearing. Who asked for the Silva cells?
the Silva cells, we're not specifically asked for. Liza Meyer from Parks asked us to give some better details and more thought into the tree protection, and so this is what our
Tree
list.
protection is above. So I apologize. Tree protection can mean during construction, not to kill the tree. But putting the
Right.
silver cells underneath the walking surface that's 2 different things.
Right. Well,
Is it to give
because
additional irrigation or which is it?
So these are new, so these weren't in at new business,
Oh,
and then
my
this is a
apologies.
reaction to
What process?
enhanced tree protection. And what is gonna happen to the roots when we reconstruct the sidewalk above it. But I think that once they come out of the park side of things, that we have
You can sort
questions
things
from
out,
Public
maybe.
Works as far as what this will allow us or preclude us from doing in the future.
And I appreciate I was monitoring of emails between you and Mr. Wasserman. Are you all both, because he's not here to testify, are you in agreement with Zach as to the design standards for
yes,
this? Okay,
yes.
including the crossroads, I know you got the variance.
Yes, we've coordinated with him, and he agreed on this configuration.
One of the things Chelsea, on the tree grates, there's a bunch of different sort of ways in which it's presented, both on the rendering on the board and sort of here. Where does the tree grate is it flush with the concrete, or does it actually extend into the concrete area, particularly because of the difference in slope between the sidewalk?
The grate itself is flush with the
Okay,
pavers.
and basically where the concrete begins?
So does the paving line follow the back of your tree grate? Or
Right.
does the tree grate jog out into the cement concrete?
Yes, that was an older
Got it.
image,
Can
but
also-
in current plan, it's a uniform paver strip.
Perfect, great.
Chelsea, you will give us a copy of the variance you had?
Yes.
Other questions or comments?
I'm the legal counsel for this board. I look forward to work with your legal counsel to finalize agreement. Apparently, there are certain things we need to memorize in the license agreement. So I have no issue for these things to move forward at this point. So to subject, we finalize the agreement.
Okay, thank you.
Who is the lawyer for the project? Stephen Langer.
Amir Tuck?
We just want this contingent upon, we'll come up with parts in these guys for an appropriate thing for the trees, but one that doesn't compromise the sidewalk or the tree.
Perfect. Great. Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item, again contingent upon further conversations with Parks and Public Works around best ways to handle both the trees and sidewalks.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the petition by TA Realty LLC for the making of specific repairs within Boylston Street, Boston proper, located on its northwesterly side at address 855 area between Fairfield Street and Gloucester Street, consisting of curb, sidewalk, and tree pit reconstruction, as well as new and relocated specialty pavement and bike racks. All is shown as set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, specific repair, 855 Boylston Street, Public Way, Back Bay, 3 sheets dated 2018, with the contingency of Parks and Public Works working out the best methodology for the soil support.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Thank you.
Moving on to the public hearing, our first item is on a set of petitions by Fan Pier Development LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following private ways open to public travel in South Boston, consisting of curb realignment and other general streetscape design revisions. The locations are Fan Pier Boulevard on its southeasterly side at address number 10 between Bond Drive and Liberty Drive, Bond Drive on its northeasterly side between Fan Pier Boulevard and Marine Park Drive, Liberty Drive on its southwesterly side between Fan Pier Boulevard and Marina Park Drive, Marina Park Drive on its northwesterly side between Bond Drive and Liberty Drive. This was new business on December 6, 2018, and this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Fan Pier Boulevard, Bond Drive, Liberty Drive, Marina Park Drive, Fan Pier Development, South Boston, 5 sheets, dated October 2018.
Good morning. I'm John Schmidt with Niche Engineering, and with me is Richard Martini from the Fallon Company. And as introduced, we're here for parcel E of Fan Pier. This is the 6th parcel of that block. And we're doing this as specific repairs, but basically we're changing the surface treatments of the previously laid out private ways. We are maintaining, this is a rendering of the 17-story Mass Mutual building that will be going under construction in Fan Pier in 2019. This essentially is the block that we're speaking to, and we're providing granite curbs around the perimeter, and we have replaced concrete block and as well as granite pavers. We have within the layout of the private way, as well as street trees. We are maintaining the materials that we used in previous phases of this development to maintain consistency throughout the project. Essentially, this is a housekeeping exercise to ensure that the city is aware of the final surface treatments of these private ways.
Maybe does the PIC have jurisdiction over
No,
this meeting?
so we have jurisdiction over laying out these private ways, and the materials and all the stuff that's in them, we don't necessarily care
what I
about.
thought.
But
But
there
this
is
is
a
a courtesy
slight,
of their part.
there's a slight modification to the curb lines, and that does trigger coming back to PIC, because we only care that appropriate accessibility and emergency vehicles.
So your
can
pinch
make
points, John, is it at minimum 20 feet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
prior conversations, Jamie, are these ever destined to become public streets, or
They
did
can
we
never
close?
become a public
So
street
we
because
close
there's
the
a
door.
private garage underneath them all.
But for your average user, does it look like you can't pass through here to get to the waterfront, or does it look like?
It looks
does
like,
it look private, or is it?
no, it looks like public streets,
So the
well-maintained
street
public
lights-
streets.
So all the street lights. Oh, my bad, my bad. Never mind.
To that point around the meters, all the signs though do say private way, is that
They
right?
do now,
Yeah,
yes.
now they do.
Meters?
There are meters.
Well, no, they looked exactly like our signs, so people would go to BTD to get their car, and we didn't have it. So we want the signs to make it very clear that we don't have your car, they have your car.
So if they wanted to make alterations to the sidewalk or anything like that, it's not
If
our realm?
dimensionally, it would trigger us if it's just treatments, landscaping and stuff, and they're not changing the path of travel or the roadway, then it wouldn't trigger us.
So lefters and righters, they can jack up the parking rates to whatever, and the city has no say in it.
Absolutely, yes, we can.
Interesting, but the parking meter looks like ours.
It now has signage
Other
that
than
is
the
very
little sign that's
distinctly
it.
telling you where you should find out about. your
And we do
vicinity.
try to stay consistent with the city, just so there's no
No
unfree
awkward.
days and all
No, I
that.
think the problem was in the beginning, they were too consistent with us, so it looked like our meters.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments? Maybe Todd? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Make a motion on a set of petitions by Fan Pier Development LLC for the making of specific repairs, as read into the record by the chair and as shown in a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plan, Fan Pier Boulevard, Bond Drive, Liberty Drive, Marina Park Drive, Fan Pier Development, South Boston, 5 sheets dated October 2018.
All in favor?
Aye.
So
Thank you.
moved. Thank you. Our next item is on a petition by High Pearl LLC for the granting of a projection license for the installation of a canopy over a portion of the sidewalk within Gridley Street in Boston proper, located on its northeasterly side, southeast of High Street. This was new business on December 6, 2018. And this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Canopy License Plan, Gridley Street, 121 High Street, downtown Boston, one sheet dated August 2018.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is John Schmid with Niche Engineering, and with me is Richard Glantz and Sarah McQueenie of Glantz Companies. We have several applications before you today. The first one has to do with proposed canopy. Just to help explain where we are, the address of the building is 121 High Street, and the project, my client owns 4 buildings that run down Pearl Street, as well as Gridley Street from High Street, 4 buildings down. The proposed canopy for a new entranceway that's proposed on Gridley Street is in this area right here. Gridley Street right now is sort of it acts as an alley, primarily back of house services, dump trucks, that sort of thing. And as you'll see in the next application, we're trying to dress that up a little bit, provide a tabletop, and provide a new means of accessible access into this building. Presently, there's no means of accessible access because the first floor is elevated on all the main sides of the building.
It is a public street, right?
It is a public street. The proposed canopy will be constructed of glass and steel. It runs this way. Landmarks has reviewed and approved it. The canopy itself will project out 4.4 feet from the building face. The proposed curb line will be 7 feet from the curb face, from the building face, so we still have 2.6 feet of clearance between the traveled way and the canopy itself. The canopy is 11 feet 5 inches above the grade, internally drained and heat treated.
John, are there any street lights on Gridley Street on this side of the sidewalk?
There are nothing, no.
None?
None that I'm aware of.
So how is the wonderful Gridley Street lit?
Well, it'll be lit
Okay,
better
can you-
now, once we have the building operating in new frontage.
I
It's
hope-
not lit.
It's not like,
It's not wide enough to have lights.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
got like 2-foot sidewalks.
And you're putting a new entrance into the area, which is going to draw more pedestrians into that area, and they're going to ask us what's going on.
Yeah, this is essentially taking care of that section, right, to get to that door where we anticipate people, and
Yeah.
it'll still continue to function like an alley beyond that. So
Yeah,
it's
so
tabling
we're-
that little section, kind of bringing it into High Street.
So west lighting,
We'll be reconstructing the first 150 feet of Gridley to make it accessible and inviting to the public.
Did we look at putting a light in?
on your buildings or something. So what my concern is you are introducing or not introducing, you are generating or attracting incremental pedestrian traffic to this wonderful place now, and it's a public street, and they are going to call Chief Osgood and say, hey, I have no lights over here.
Even a wall pack on the side of the building that just.
Okay, something a little bit more so that you don't have an awkward situation on our collective hands.
I would just point out, and I'm not insensitive to your remark, that the glazing is going to run almost 18 feet up to the historical cast iron structure, and it's a public lobby, and there's going to be quite a bit of light all the time washing out onto the sidewalk.
That should do it.
What's the use of that specific entrance? Is it residential?
Handicap for the office and retail.
So office and retail. So we don't have any residential.
No, you don't.
Because obviously you know how that operates. It's dumpsters, trash pickup, everything occurs from the back of that building. Noise would be an issue.
Appreciate you recognizing the sensitivity.
Thank you.
As long as light bleeds out.
Other questions?
One other question. I asked this the last time. Who's your contractor pulling the permits?
For the site work,
Yep, scaffolding.
the scaffold that's there now,
Yep.
that's coming out tomorrow.
Yep. Who is it?
Northeast, New England Scaffold.
New England Scaffolding. And they have a permit.
They have a permit.
Okay. We'll see them tomorrow.
It's gonna rain.
That's all right. I'm in a car. Not a bike.
I want to see how fast they take that scaffold down when it rains.
Faster when he's out there.
They're good.
I'm glad you'll be there. I'll be there too then.
Safety to workers, safety to all parties.
Absolutely.
Paramount.
Other questions or comments? Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this.
I'll make a motion to approve petition by High/Pearl LLC for the granting of a projection license in Gridley Street, for the record by the chair, as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Canopy License Plan, Gridley Street, 121 High Street, downtown Boston. One sheet dated August 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. The next item is on a petition by High Pearl LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, roadway, sidewalk, and area reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, and flush curb. The locations are High Street, address number 121, generally at Gridley Street, and Gridley Street southeast of High Street, and Pearl Street on its southwesterly side, southeast of High Street. This was new business on December 6, 2018, and this is as shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan, Gridley Street and Pearl Street, 121 High Street, downtown Boston, 3 sheets dated August 2018.
Good morning, John Schmidt with Niche Engineering and Richard Glanz from his own office. So let me start at Gridley Street. As we discussed previously, Gridley Street is a public way, so it's more of a back-of-house alley. We're looking to improve that to make it more pedestrian friendly for the proposed entrance at building 2. We're proposing a tabletop to make it accessible throughout and also traffic calming and to notify drivers that this is indeed a pedestrian area. When we met last time, we discussed the Bluestone pavers, which is something that we're relocating from Pearl Street through the Landmarks office to place them on Gridley Street. We reconfigured those to sort of create a U shape here and also to minimize the utility crossings. I believe that Boston Water and Sewer has reviewed and blessed this configuration. We are also currently working with Eversource and Verizon to make sure that they're okay with this as well.
John,
yes.
which way does the street drains, stormwater draining
Drainage here, everything pitches away, so
away from that area, so
We
the
won't
appropriate location of current catch basins can handle it?
everything works, yeah. We're not changing the patterns. We're just elevating everything about 6 inches. If we move over to...
John, a quick notice on the pavers. So Landmarks has given approval for the pavers to be at Gridley.
Landmarks has approved the pavers to be in the sidewalk of Gridley, which is not acceptable to this commission, so we are looking for a new location.
Right.
As part of your actions today, we have a couple conditions that we ask that you consider. and that will protect the city as well as all parties interested to make sure that what is finally constructed is acceptable for everyone. On Pearl Street, we have a series of granite pavers that are covered with bituminous concrete, an area here of bluestones which are failing, and then granite pavers that are covered in bituminous concrete. The scaffolding that you spoke of is currently right here. The intent is to take the bluestones here, relocate them on Gridley, and then reconstruct this sidewalk here with concrete, poured concrete. Now, please note this is all over an existing area, so it's hollow below.
John, I don't recall the last time City of Boston went and resurfaced Gridley. I don't know. Let's assume 30 years ago. Hopefully sooner than that. But in the next 30 years, when the city has to resurface Gridley, how are we going to manage these bluestones?
Well, the bluestones would be embedded in the pavement.
And it's going to be flushed, right?
Right.
My paver is going to come and then
Yeah.
it's going to interact with the bluestone,
Correct.
right?
Right.
So that's going to be a little bit,
There will be,
right? When it was in the
well, I
sidewalk, it was
understand.
good, so.
Yeah, and we have an LMI, which hopefully will capture some of those concerns.
We'll
Right.
talk with Katie about what would be required of that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and-
structure it.
Yeah, and I did, you know,
Hopefully it will be
maybe-
100 years before we come.
It's gonna be like coming up to a specialty crosswalk.
At which point we just destroy it and then don't put anything back. But the bluestone, I mean, what happens is,
Officially, yes.
right. Here it might, like the pave is, when you
Over-
think
right,
about
it might-
taking
it
an
might-
inch
it
off,
might
how
show
I
up.
would take that
Right.
inch off.
Yeah, I'll talk to Katie
Can
about
you
what
sort it out?
practically we would do when we
Right.
go to face to face.
Because right now we are caught in between finding a location for these and the road may not be the best. I don't know, yeah.
Well, the problem is that if they're being kicked to the roadway because we have a desire to make these sidewalks accessible.
Correct, Your Honor. This is sort of a part of, a set of the contingencies, the landmark approval, the final orientation of pavers that makes it able to be resurfaced and is suitable for utility work beneath if there need to be any. And
So
that'll
we're
have to be a
getting-
contingency.
Then Mark's is kicking off the whole thing of where our options for locating these things are. And
So
then
you
after that,
can
we
help
can
to
do
solve this
practical.
mess.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we repaved Ridley Street with a frequency.
That's what I.
Paving looks pretty good right now.
It was just done.
So we got
Yeah, it's
another
not bad.
30
It's
years.
been done recently.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
Maybe.
So coming back to Pearl Street, this is an areaway throughout here. We have asphalt over granite. We're going to remove the asphalt. We're going to inspect the granite and determine if it's acceptable or not. We may have to go to the state for a variance in order to to accommodate the city's concerns. This will be poured concrete, totally accessible. And a lot of this work is being driven by the fact that these the bluestone pavers are leaking and failing, as well as the granite has leaks. And the idea is we want to improve the structure below it, as well as the public entities.
So you still haven't received the variance?
No,
You don't have the variance?
we don't have-
Yet you
we-
want
we
PSC
don't-
to take action on this?
We don't have a variance because we don't know the condition. We have asphalt over it, so
Right.
once it's removed,
So if you don't get the variance, worst case scenario, what happens?
Well, there will be a variance, because I think that based on the area way that we'll never get it to full compliance. It's where we want to make the section of non-compliance that will be the subject of the variance.
So you,
But we need to uncover what's there to know what the options are.
because in this case, the abut is user and it is your area way that is in play. So are you planning on filling the area way or subterranean, are you going to use the area way?
Our plan is to use it.
That makes it more interesting in terms of the options that are there for you. Okay? So,
I wish we had more answers, but at this point we don't.
no, but John, you know
Yeah,
how this.
yeah, and that's
various
why we're
decision
asking, it's unusual for this board to approve things conditionally, but this is an exception to that because of the unknowns.
We don't even know what it is, so how deep it is.
But truly appreciate what you are doing in the area, so we want to be supportive to get there.
John, I recommend that you actually call for a site visit, so I can keep your building permit open for the repair of the wall.
Okay. So you'd like to conduct another site visit? Is that, sorry?
The permits are only valid for 6 months.
Okay,
So what you need to do, you need to do periodic inspection,
okay.
which would show that you performed
Show that there's,
some piece of the scope.
Yeah.
Could really
Okay.
be, you have a broad range to work within,
yeah.
and that's so I can keep your permit open rather
Okay.
than have you post the permit every 6 months.
So as work progresses, let your office know when you come out and
Just
confirm.
keep an eye on the date,
Yeah.
and you want to get myself or designee. It'll be me on this one just because of the commission's involvement in it. Just so I can keep your permits active. I'd rather have you keep it.
Yeah,
you don't
it's-
even have- If I go out there, you don't even have to file an extension. It
Okay.
goes from the date of the inspection on the
Okay.
permit.
Appreciate the heads up.
Other questions or comments on this? John, do you want to walk through sort of the contingencies that?
Sure. I had proposed two. One is no work shall commence until the proponent receives landmarks and PIC staff approval of the final bluestone relocation or disposal. Perhaps if we remove the stone and it crumbles, then we don't have to replace it. Not that I'm encouraging that. No work shall commence until the utility providers that may be impacted by the relocated bluestone in Gridley Street indicate they have no objections to the final location. And we've started that process, and hopefully before the holidays are over, we'll get some feedback. So what we won't do is we won't submit any plans for Mylars for approval until everything is nailed down and reviewed by staff.
Any questions or comments or concerns about those contingencies? Members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item, again, contingent upon both final approval by Landmarks and PIC and consent by the utility companies to the layout of the bluestone.
I make a motion to approve the petition by High Pearl LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Boston proper, consisting of curb realignment, roadways, sidewalk, and areaway reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, especially pavement and flush curb. Falls right into the record by the chair and is shown a set of plans to the City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, specific repairs plan, Ridley Pearl Street, 121 High Street, downtown Boston. 3 sheets dated August 2018, with the caveats of the Landmarks and PIC staff coming to an agreement on the bluestone and the utility consent of the various utilities that are in that area.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. So moved.
Thank you. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Our next item is on a petition by Rug Road USL LLC for the acceptance of pedestrian easements adjacent to the following public ways in Brighton. Rug Road on its northwesterly side at address number 40, generally between Braintree Street and Emery Street. Braintree Street on its southerly side between Rug Road and Penniman Road. Penniman Road on its southeasterly side, generally southwest of Braintree Street. This was new business on December 6th, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, 40 Rug Road, one sheet dated December 20th, 2018.
So Matt Lawler, Robinson & Cole, counsel for the applicant. Here with me today is Jay Russo from USL Rug Road, and Michael's organization, and Steve Bowler from Steve Martirano from Bowler will walk you through the plans as they've been revised since the last meeting.
Sure. I'll give a quick, thanks, Matt. I'll give a quick refresher of the project just for everybody's information. 265 units, multifamily housing. We're showing the overall project limits here, which is, this is Braintree Street, Rug Road, Penniman Road. The project is these buildings around the perimeter. This is a project that's been approved, PPDA approved, and this is a condominium project that's just opened by others. So that's the context of the project. When we were here for new business, we had a couple of items that we were asked to look into, which we've done. One specifically, probably the most significant one, was to make sure we coordinated with BTD's engineering staff, and we had sent the plans through the BTD planners, and my understanding is the review came back, and they agreed with the improvements as shown.
The only thing that it's just right there is that the plans were sent to Bill Conroy who reported that he had no issues right now, but I didn't see anything from the engineering staff.
So Bill did the coordination directly with the engineering staff. We had talked to the engineering staff. They asked for all the plans to go through Bill. So they went through Bill to the engineering staff, back to Bill.
Would you speak with engineering?
Carl McKenzie.
Okay, very good.
Yes. So, and they reviewed, came back with no changes to the design.
Very good, thank you.
So the other thing we heard was just from staff was to confirm that the adjacent ramps to the work that we're proposing that are newly constructed by the other project, they're compliant, they have the detectable panels. None of our work is impacting those, but we are butting right up against it. So we took a look at that. The previous paver strip, we heard there was a...
Sorry, before we get into the specific repair, but it's very helpful. Do you mind just walking us through the pet easement, and then we can sort of take an action on that?
Sure,
and then
sure.
Just for formalities.
So none of those items impacted the pedestrian easement, but just to go specific.
Just on this also, who is the current owner of this? Are you?
No, it's two trusts. Two trusts, and there's an agreement between the applicant and them to purchase the property early next year.
So you are not the current owner as we are trying to give a vote?
Correct.
On this item?
Right. We had submitted authorization from the owner to do so.
So do they have the punchline for the record? Do they have the authority to petition the Public Improvement Commission and the PIC Commission to give a vote for someone who doesn't own the property?
They have the letter from the owner to authorize them to go forward to do that. We have stipulations and no permit and no agreement unless when they acquire the property from the current owner, which will be closed, I imagine the next.
How will we know when that deal has been done?
In 2-3 weeks.
No, how will we know? So you will reach out to us?
Right,
and
we
we
can't,
will
they're not gonna pull
We're not gonna-
or permits against property they don't own.
So we won't file this stuff until all that gets
Right,
sorted
so
out.
they're the future owners, we have heard from the current owners, they're complicit in this process. And,
Amy, do you have the letter?
yes.
Like pet easement, pedestrian easement?
So the pedestrian easement, so there's easements on Rug Road, Penniman Road, and Braintree Road. So Penniman along this stretch of the property, and then again down this stretch of the property, those are relatively narrow, 1.5 foot, generally 1.5 foot width easements, just to accommodate the complete streets goals that we're trying to implement, get the street trees in there, the pervious paver strip, and then the existing widths just weren't quite wide enough to accommodate the 5-foot sidewalk as well as those other improvements. So we're just adding some small strips there, same treatment along Rug Road.
Excuse me, sir. Have you submitted those plans to us or am I? Amy, do we have? Because they have condensed a lot of information to this sheet.
There should be separate easement plans and separate specific repair.
My bad.
That easement right here.
It's this.
They look very,
All
They
they
look
have.
similar,
the
yeah.
plans look very similar. It's-
So they're starting with the same base and then one
bad.
is just reflecting 10 easements, the others.
You should have this plan as well in your package.
No, we don't. At least I.
We only received one copy of that.
Right. So we only have one copy of that, we have the easement plan that shows on like what essentially is the specific
Yeah,
repair.
maybe this is housekeeping. I should
That
have
will
thought.
look like our Mylar.
Right,
there.
okay, so,
It's got a-
so when it is, because you got Rug and a few other streets
Yep.
on,
Yep, 100%. That's the specific repair plan, just showing the easements, whereas that's the actual easement plan that he's got as well.
Yeah, just for clarity, I just went to the simplified version, but, so the easements come along Rug Road, Penman Road, and then again, we have a wider easement along Braintree Street because we're proposing wider tree bed areas and wider sidewalks along that stretch. So that easement gets a little bit wider along Braintree. And again, these are strictly pedestrian easements to accommodate those wider sidewalk widths we're trying to achieve.
and this is about the trees, you are planting new trees.
Planting
Specific
all new
So,
trees, correct.
She's fine.
Sarah?
Sarah, yeah, fine.
Questions or comments on the pedestrian easement? Mayor Todd? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on the pedestrian easements.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by Rug Road USL LLC for the acceptance of pedestrian easements adjacent to the following public ways in Brighton, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on the plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Pedestrian Easement Plan, 40 Rug Road, one sheet dated December 20th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Our next item is on a petition by Rug Road USL LLC for the making of specific repairs within the following public ways in Brighton, consisting of curb realignment, roadway and sidewalk reconstruction, as well as new and relocated pedestrian ramps, specialty pavement, street trees, irrigation infrastructure, and driveway curb cuts. Locations are Rug Road on its northwesterly side at address number 40 between Braintree Street and Emery Street, Braintree Street on its southerly side between Rug Road and Penniman Road, Penniman Road on its southeasterly side, southwest of Braintree Street. This was new business on December 6, 2018, and this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repairs Plan, 40 Rug Road, 3 sheets dated December 19, 2018.
Again, Steve Maturano from Bowler Engineering with Matt Lawler, Robinson and Cole, and Jay Russo from the Michaels organization. We gave the overview of the project, and then we walked through some of the specifics relative to coordinating with BTD, curb ramps. The next comment we heard was impervious or pervious paver strip and making sure that aligned with the tree pits. And then it gives some additional infiltration for the sidewalk runoff. So those have been incorporated. We did get 2 additional comments since our new business hearing. One was from Parks, just relative to enhancing the detail under that pervious paver strip and tying it in with the different soils around the tree, and that detail's been incorporated into the plan set as well. And another comment we got was a separate letter relative to the Alston Brighton Mobility Study. That's a new effort that's just underway, pretty newly. They're in the process of establishing their goals. Kittleson is the city's consultant. They are also our traffic consultant on this project. So I had a conversation with them to make sure that our project wasn't going against any of the anticipated goals of that project. And she said we're in line, at least with the direction we're going and where they expect that study to go. And it's really relative to wider sidewalks, more focus on the pedestrian, the bump outs for traffic calming. So those are the features we already have in the plan, which is great that those are in line with the expected goals of that study. So those are the new items that we heard and feel we've addressed at this point, and we're happy to answer any further questions.
I know we talked bike racks last time, correct me if I'm wrong, there's a fair amount of bike storage that's within the development as well as on Braintree Street, but are there other public bike racks that are sort of within the furnishing zone?
We don't have any proposed on this stretch, but we do have the new bike racks are labeled on this version of the plan, and there's exterior racks that are available.
Side. Okay.
Yes.
In addition to the ones that are on Braintree
In addition to the enclosed ones within the building as well.
On the Alston Brighton Mobility Study, and I think that 2 things would be helpful. Obviously, we are in the early stages of doing that study. I think your collaboration sort of with BTD, the BPDA, and that study overall as we think about the implications of this. I know it's in your interest, but your continued work with us will be significant. I also think it would be valuable, just on that note, just to give a quick update for you guys for the Alston Civic Association, so if you can just reach out to them. I'm sure you have already, just make sure that they are aware of where this project is and how it aligns with the mobility study.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Do you have site plan approval from BWSC yet? Are you in line?
We are in line for site plan approval.
Okay, so you're still going through the process of...
I believe there's one MEP item that is being answered now, and that was it.
You're almost at it?
We expect approval any day. We were hoping by the end of the year.
I'm just noticing that we have water main that's on the older side between Denby and Brook. When are these roadway improvements contemplated to go into construction? What year?
When are you starting?
When are you going to reconstruct the road?
19.
Sorry, March of 19. So we'd be...
So you're going to reconstruct in a couple months?
There's some abatement and demolition. Obviously, the existing buildings goes first, but it could be later, 2019, I would expect the infrastructure.
This, come here.
Yep.
We're not gonna replace the water main.
Okay.
There's no way we can get out there that fast. Sorry, it should have another 30 years.
Okay, we'll talk offline about that.
Has anybody met with the fire department yet?
I believe we have.
So they used to, fire prevention on the district chief?
We have met with them on several different items. There are specific, we've met with them relative to the fire, fire alarm system in the area. There's some unusual equipment out there that we need to replace or relocate. They've at least looked at the buildings. I don't think they've gotten, I don't know how far they've gotten like a construction level review, but they've looked at the site and the access.
Curious to the comment on the access behind 20 Rug in particular. See an access point over here off the Rug. The question would be the fire apparatus between 30 Penman and 20 Rug.
Between 30. Oh, that quarter in the back? Oh, I don't think they intended to go in there. There is room for them to be in there. It's not for vehicular access, though.
Have you submitted an NFPA 241?
Gee, I don't know.
Do you know what that phrase means?
Yes, I do, but I'm not sure if we have yet.
That'd be important.
Yep.
I would think.
Yep. Yeah, we had some preliminary meetings to make sure from a site access.
Who have you talked to?
I'm not recalling the name right now.
You might want to reach out to Dennis Keeley.
Okay. I think Dennis was on the email chain. I don't think he came to the meeting. But, we'll confirm with the fire department and make sure we get the proper final construction plans to them for review.
I'm not seeing anything back there, that's why. So I'd be concerned with that.
Okay.
Other questions or comments? Amy or Tom? Okay. All right, members of the public? All right, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve petition by Rug Road USL LLC for the making of specific repairs in Rug Road, Braintree Street, Penniman Road, as read into the record by the chair, and is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Specific Repair Plans, 40 Rug Road. 3 sheets dated December 19th, 2018.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Very good. Thank you.
Our next item is on a petition by Comcast of Boston, Inc. for a grant of location with lead company status and 2 participants to install new telecommunications conduit with city shadow within the following public ways in Roxbury. The locations are Allerton Street between Magazine Street and Rustfield Street, generally at address number 65, and Magazine Street at Allerton Street. This was new business on December 6th, 2018, and this is shown on a set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Grant of Location Plan, 65 Allerton Street, Roxbury, 3 sheets, dated October 24th, 2018.
Good morning, Tim Corthell with Comcast, lead company here on Alderman Street. I have Kenny Bates from RCN here today. We're proposing approximately 400 feet of Schedule 4 conduit with 2 city shadows. This is due to the removal of telephone poles along the street. There's a couple of manholes that each company will need to add to allow access to each company's equipment. As you can see, RCN and Comcast will be together, and then Verizon will have their separate manhole down the street.
Yeah, go ahead, wait for a second.
Who initiated the removal of the poles?
So,
Construction, Suffolk Construction was one that asked us to remove it. They're looking for beautification of the area, and they had come up and said, hey, what would it cost to do this?
The poles belong to?
The poles belong to Eversource, so they've dealt strictly with Eversource, and also with Verizon as a JO poles, so they would have coordinate with both of them. We just happen to be...
make sure I understand. This is such great news that the private sector asked for the removal of poles to beautify the area, and all of you all are willingly doing this. This is such a nice day.
We are
No,
trying
I just
to,
want to know. I'm being so tongue-in-cheek. It's
Should
funny.
add this to our underground. home
Right,
zone.
no, don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely supportive of this. I'm just taken back because we've been trying to do this for more than a couple of days, and really, really appreciative of the fact that the private sector's utility industry recognizes the charm of having these poles, and that the whole world can be a little bit better in terms of maintenance and all of that good stuff when this is underground. So Suffolk Construction, do they have some interest in this area? Is it near their headquarters or?
Their headquarters.
Yeah, they
that's
just,
what it is.
Looks like a nice building.
yeah, they did all right.
We should put this thing as part of the normal articulated review process.
Right? We should just move Suffolk's headquarters around until we get all the way.
Yeah, you guys want to replace the water main as well?
You can talk to them.
But in all candor, thank you for what you all are doing. We appreciate it.
Tim, what other things you want to cover?
Just any other concerns? So, at the intersection of Magazine Street, we'll be entering an electric manhole as well as RCN's manhole.
That's where our cable comes from presently.
Sorry, Commissioner, because Hesper is asking a very valid question. Right now, Verizon does have a grant of location for those poles. So the pole owner has a GOL for that pole. So we can't have them having a grant of location and these wise. They need to come and say, delete that, right, Amy?
Well, right, so this is all, when the pole comes down, like, it's this.
So we neutralize their grant of location. Do they need to petition us? Because again, this doesn't happen every
Yeah,
day.
Verizon's one of the people that's a participant in the, we're getting buried along with these guys.
Yes.
So everybody is getting buried in the
Yes.
thing.
So those poles will no longer have a
Right,
grant of
but we
location.
right, but we have to leave the poles until.
No, I know, but once everything goes down,
Yep,
In that section, all the poles will be
all
gone.
the poles will go, and we need to have an administrative process to know that there are no pole
right, well, so the way
right of
that it
ways.
works is that we basically say, before you install a pole, you have to come to
Come
us.
to
So
us.
that by removing the pole, we're triggering their need to come back to reinstall a pole in that location.
So that's part of the poll hearing process.
We don't have a pole removal
I
hearing
know that's
process. Usually what happens is that they're removing a pole to put in another
But the
pole.
poll hearings that we regularly have here,
Yeah.
Delta relocation.
Yeah,
all that.
but poles that just go away don't come here, essentially.
So it's
But-
done, so to Para's point, it's done administratively.
Correct.
Just don't want 50 years later to
Right,
someone come and say, hey, I have the right to be there, and then we go backwards.
I defy them to find that great location that gives them the right to put a pole there.
Maybe as long as you can manage that, that's good.
Tim, you're talking about Allerton Magazine.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just there's going to be a couple of manholes that we'll have to access on the corner of Magazine and Aldern Street. Other than that, business as usual with conditions of Boston Water and Sewer will maintain separation from your mains out there.
Yeah, all of our assets on that road are brand new. So let's keep them that way.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Do not go on top of us.
Just for my edification purposes, and comma, I don't know whether I can ask this question or not, but let me take a crack at it. The cost of doing this, are all the companies bearing that cost, or is the cost being transferred to the entity that is causing this removal? And if you don't want to answer, because this is like private, so very private,
I
defer to answer that question later. Thank you, sir.
All right, sorry.
No, I'm
Other questions or comments?
The holiday spirit.
The holidays. Maybe every year around this time we will have a series of projects that goes for city beautification and reduction of our overhead infrastructure, at least 2% per year. So in another 50 years, we'll
Make
be
it-
underground district.
We'll make it an annual thing.
Amy or Todd? Members of the public? All right, entertain a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve the petition by Comcast of Boston, Inc. The grant of location to lead company status and two participants to install telecommunications conduit within the city shadow on the following public ways is read into the record by the chair and is shown on the set of plans entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Grant of Location Plan, 65 Allerton Street, Roxbury, 3 sheets dated October 24th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? So moved.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Our next item is on a petition by One Post Office Square LLC for the granting of an earth retention license for the installation of a temporary earth support system within the following public ways in Boston proper. Locations are Milk Street on its southeasterly side, southwest of Oliver Street, and Oliver Street on its southwesterly side, southeast of Milk Street. This was new business on December 6, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Temporary Earth Retention Plan, 1 Post Office Square, Boston, 1 sheet dated October 2018.
Good morning. My name is David Lindhart. I'm with Goulston and Stores, counsel for proponent for 1 Post Office Square LLC, and I'll let the rest of the team introduce themselves.
Good morning. Michael Conley, Jones Lang LaSalle, owner's representative.
Nate Shield with Tetra Tech Civil Engineer.
Mark Haley, Haley and Aldridge.
Thanks for having us back. We're returning from new business and a bit of background. The earth retention support system relates to demolition of a existing garage behind 1 Post Office Square tower. We're working on an improvements to the tower, bringing down the existing garage, and then it'll be replaced with a new garage with stackers and then office floors above that. And this is specifically to bring down for the demolition piece for the garage. So I'll let the engineers talk about the work.
Yes, as discussed in the last meeting, the existing garage currently is 2 levels deep, and we want to maintain the existing concrete walls for the basement. So to do that, on 2 sides, we have the hotel on one side, and we have the existing tower on the other side, and on the 2 city street sides, we want to put in tiebacks or soil nails to essentially support that wall temporarily as an earth support system. And then there will be detention at the end, and so it's a temporary easement or a temporary license.
The other thing that we done in the last 2 weeks, part of our discussions with Boston Water and Sewer was to TV the sewer lines. We actually did that, I think, the day of our last meeting or shortly thereafter. That video is complete. Both lines looked in good shape, and we're about to resubmit that information directly to Boston Water and Sewer.
Directly to me.
Sure.
Thank you.
The last time we wanted to provide a couple of questions about comments about the garage structure itself, and then just to confirm, we think the cycle time of the garage is not going to cause any sort of backups on Oliver Street or wherever the point of entrance is. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
In the totality of your project, will you be coming in front of this commission in the future for specific repairs?
Yes.
Please be mindful when you do that. Do take a walk around the area to get a sense of how things are. Just not your.
They're already in
They understand.
significant discussions about all of
They
this.
understand.
Yeah.
Like the neighborhood feel of things.
Yep.
What's the height of the tower? How many floors on the new tower?
It's 41 floors. The height of the tower doesn't change.
No, but the new building, I think, is what you're asking for. The new building is
19 floors.
correct.
19. The intent is this to make Class A office space?
Yes, correct. So the existing footprint of the tower, they're about 20,000 square feet, the existing footprint, with a pretty substantial core in the middle of it. By expanding the floor footprint out, basically taking up where the existing garage is, it turns those floors into about a 40,000 square foot footprint with no columns from the face of the building out to Oliver Street. So it's going to be, we believe it's going to be tremendous space within the financial district for those type of floor plates.
It's a very tricky construction management plan. We're reviewing it right now.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of questions right now, but we're going to have a page turner with your consultants to go over that.
Thank you.
But we'll get through it.
How long do you expect the earthwork to go on? So how long until you're up out of the ground doing structural steel?
The structural steel, we'd like to start the soil nailing when we receive the permit sometime in early to mid-January. And once the soil nailing is complete, the demolition of the garage will actually start April 1st when Putnam leaves the building. The whole goal of the project was Putnam's gonna leave the front door. We're gonna have, hopefully, the CMP plan in place, all the staging in place, the tower crane in place, so that April 1st, we could actually do two things: start taking panels off the building, and also start the actual tear down of the garage. We won't be tearing down the garage until Putnam leaves the space April 1st. Structural steel will actually be starting in November of next year.
So you'll be out of the ground by the end of 2019?
Yes.
I'm just
Yes.
thinking about when I have to set a reminder to get the post-inspection meeting.
We're happy to let you know when we feel we're done in below grade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Absolutely flooding, but.
Other questions or comments? Your time? Members of the public? I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve a petition by One Post Office Square LLC for the granting of an earth retention license on Milk and Oliver Street, as read into the record by the chair, and shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department Engineering Division Temporary Earth Retention Plan, One Post Office Square, Boston, one sheet, dated October 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Our next item is on a petition by LaSalle Realty LLC for the abandonment of any and all rights to travel the public may have had within Bonnell Terrace, a private way in Roxbury from Washington Street to its northwesterly terminus. This was new business on December 6, 2018, and this is as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Abandonment Plan, Bonnell Terrace, Roxbury District, one sheet dated May 31st, 2018.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Glenn Kramer, an attorney with Kumsky & Levin, LLP, 6 University Road, Cambridge, appearing on behalf of LaSalle Realty, LLC. As Attorney Levin explained 2 weeks ago, this is a petition to abandon public rights in a private way. It's about a 170-foot strip of land. LaSalle owns both sides after a land swap with an abutting property owner who has since gone on to develop a mixed-use property with, I believe, 16 units of housing in Dudley Square. There's no other property that uses Bonnell Terrace as a means of ingress or egress. If you follow the 170 feet towards the back, it sort of leads to a retaining wall. And if I understand correctly, the only outstanding question at the new business hearing was confirmation from Eversource Electric as to the abandonment in place of the electric wires. And I forwarded the emails to Mr. Liming, and I have copies if anyone would like to see a copy.
Eversource is supportive of this.
Yeah, they were the only utility that was outstanding.
That was in there.
Just not housekeeping, record keeping. So Bonnell Terrace is a private way. So on the legend, not on the legend, write the words private way.
Yeah, so
private way.
because it's an abandonment, that means private way because we
Oh.
discontinued public ways. But I can
Just
add
what-
private way.
just so that we-
100%, yep.
And housing, the petitioner owns both sides of Bonnell Terrace with the exception of the retaining wall on the western edge.
They're the 100% abutter and 100% fee owner of the land underneath the street.
And there's no point, just to confirm, we've talked about this before, but there's no point of, there's no way of access for the property owner who's on the western edge.
Correct.
Out of that stairs.
Any other questions?
Questions or comments? Name your time. Members of the public? All right, entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve a petition by LaSalle Realty LLC for the abandonment of any and all rights of travel the public may have had within Bonnell Terrace, as read into the record by the chair and is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, Abandonment Plan, Bonnell Terrace, Roxbury District, one sheet dated May 31st, 2018.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
For our final item of this meeting and for 2018, on a joint petition by Selco Partners doing business as Verizon Wireless and NB Guest Street Associates LLC to amend a grant of location to install new telecommunications fiber and existing conduit within Guest Street, a public way in Brighton, located between addresses number 15 and 10-20, generally east of Market Street. This was new business on December 6th, 2018, and this is shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, amended grant of location plan 15 and 10-20 Guest Street, Brighton, one sheet dated December 6th, 2018.
Good morning. John Moran, attorney for Selco Partnership, doing business as Verizon Wireless. If I may briefly outline the project again, Verizon, under license from the landlord, has installed in the garage a end-head equipment room for their DAS, a diversified antenna installation, which is available to all the carriers to utilize the antenna. Antenna have been installed in the garage. What we are seeking here today is permission to cross Guest Street in an existing conduit owned by the landlord in order to continue the DAS installation in the even-numbered buildings. At the last hearing, there were two questions. One, did we have permission from RCN to access the manhole? That permission has been communicated to staff. And two, the question is, what is Selco Partnership?
Yes.
Selco Partnership is a wholly owned subsidiary of Verizon Communication, Inc., doing business as Verizon. It was originally created in 2000 as a joint venture between Bell Atlantic Mobile, which through various acquisitions became Verizon Wireless, Inc., doing business as Verizon, and Vodafone UK, which was an international telecommunication company, Vodafone owning 45%, Verizon owning 55% of Selco Partners. Over the next 4 years, substantial acquisitions were made by the partnership. Selco did not pay a dividend. Vodafone decided they would exercise their right to be bought out. And in 2014, Verizon paid roughly $131 billion for the 45% interest. Since then, it has continued to acquire assets. It is the Selco Partnership, doing business as Verizon Wireless, is the licensed entity in the Commonwealth to provide wireless services. The permits that are required for the antenna installations are all in the name of Verizon Wireless. It is a very substantial subsidiary. To put it in context, Verizon owns Yahoo. It's again a billion-dollar entity, standalone. I hope I've addressed who Selco Partnership is.
Crystal.
Well, very helpful.
For the first time, that's not good. Really.
Also, all the retail stores that you see with Verizon on are Selco Partnership stores.
Perfect.
Right. I could dive back then. That's very helpful. Thank you. Yep.
But in a nutshell, they are just reallocating wires on assets that they own and pulling wires.
Yeah, it's a building-to-building connection that exists, and they're just
And we appreciate you
filling an
coming
empty spot.
in front of us and letting us know.
And I'm Michael Bowers. I'm with CB, the property management for the complex.
Great. And obviously you support and approve them.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Other questions or comments? Nope. Andrew Todd? All right. Members of the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve a joint petition by Selco Partnership to amend a grant of location in Guest Street as read to the record by the chair and as shown on a plan entitled City of Boston Public Works Department, Engineering Division, amended grant of location plan 15 and 10 through 20 Guest Street, Brighton, one sheet dated December 6, 2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thank you.
So much. Just want to thank our partners at the cable office. Thank Chong, Sarah, Amy, Todd, Karen, fellow commissioners for a great 2018, and looking forward to an equally successful, happy, prosperous 2019. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Chief mentioned the first hearing.
Thank you. Thank you, Todd. So our first hearing of 2019 will be on January 17th, 2019. And with that, I will
Very much,
entertain-
Mr. Chairman.
My pleasure.
Make a motion to adjourn?
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.